here as we'll go ahead and get ready for the second map. It's gonna be Dragon Shire there. Team Good Guys with the pick.
Dragon Shire taken. That's always again, I love this map. I absolutely love it. It's so cool to watch, and there's so many different strategies that teams have these days, especially when we talk about the solo laners. There's so many different approaches, and where we sometimes see the odd pick coming in. And just lately, the rhythm has also been broken a little bit. A lot of teams are starting to make more 4-man rotations. We see some splits with 2 heroes up at the top lane. So there's definitely a lot where new approaches come into it. And ETC, Dehaka probably going to play a huge role here once more. And yeah, I'm ready for the draft.
We've watched it kind of evolve a little bit. We used to have those one-on-ones on Dragon Shire, Tuma Spider Queen, that bottom lane, but now we have the 2-on-2s. Most teams are grabbing a double support and taking one of the supports and just putting it in the lane there. And so that forces the opponent to react in their own way, and most have gotten their own support, and they try to have that 2-on-2 battle. So it's kind of a cool evolution to watch between our teams, and on certain battlegrounds, it's starting to pick up a lot of steam, and Dragon Shire is one that we see it on. Now, I don't know if we'll see it from Team Good Guys. They seem to still favor having that one solo lane in the top and trying to have a strong 4-man.
Now, there's a couple of reasons why I actually love Dragon Shire. So one of the reasons is games on Dragon Shire are usually a bit longer. I think in competitive heroes, a lot of the games are... I like it when games are a bit longer. I'm not talking about like a 30-minute match every single time, but Dragon Shire usually extends for another 2-3 minutes compared to the average on other maps. So you get these long end game battles on after the Storm Talons have grass. That's pretty awesome. And also, it's one of these maps that's it's not really as scripted as, let's say, for example, Sky Temple, where in the early game you exactly know that a lot is going to hinge around the fight at the second temple phase, when level 10 is about to hit, when it comes down to your top, do you have a global, for example. Yeah. Whereas here, coordination is very different. You can oftentimes stall out the objective by trying to rotate around your opponent, but it's much more flexible in the way that you act on the map. Even after a team fight, it can be beneficial to you to simply say, hey, we push through a structure and then attempt to make a play for the Dragon Knight, but accept that our opponent might, because of that delay, have a chance of interrupting it. So that's why I personally really like it a lot. Maybe going a bit on a rant there.
No, yeah. I mean, it comes down to brains versus muscles sometimes here and there, right? Like, it's kind of cool to watch Dragon Shire be utilized and pushed to the limits. For you at home, of course, we have Twitter constantly buzzing with you guys, talking about what you'd love here in the HGC, and we always love to see that. But we also have a poll for you guys. Who will build the momentum to pull ahead? Will it be the Good Guys, or will it be the Playing Ducks? And so far, based on game number 1, small sample size, Team Good Guys look a little bit more coordinated and a little bit better in the team fights, in my opinion. Yeah,
you can of course check that out at Heroes Esports, and also make sure that you send us your thoughts at Heroes Esports and include the hashtag HGC. What do you think about the series so far, the games that we've seen? Is there a standout player for you, any hero that you love that we have back? Personally, for example, I really enjoy having ETC back. He's a fantastic hero. He's absolutely awesome to watch. He's a huge playmaker. So I love that we have a bit more tank versatility now these days, and I also like that Tyrande is back, even though today we haven't seen her yet. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say, actually. Seeing that Tyrande kind of gave me a little flare up. Excited to see Tyrande getting mixed up in the matchup. So
nice fun. I like it.
Nice,
good job.
Dude. Little flare. Haha. Team Good Guys versus the Playing Ducks here. Game number 2. They're coming in with the ban.
You're so punny. And midi.
What I like about your puns and your jokes, they're just so bad, but you smile so hard. Like, whenever you make a joke, you're just like, I'm the most funny guy in the world. I'm hysterical.
Again, you have to put that in perspective, okay? I'm German. We are not supposed to be funny, so my jokes at home are killing it.
That's terrible, man. Absolutely. Rhaegar ETC. Again, Team Good Guys go back to their Rhaegar once again, but at least they get the ETC here, so I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, Rhaegar ETC, and it's the same opening that they had last time. They really love their Rhaegar. I mean, up to an extent, I would never ban Rhaegar, but against them, I would consider it just one game to see what happens. Because they have... I mean, have they ever picked anything else but Rhaegar if they had the choice to go for Rhaegar?
I mean, let's go ahead and look.
I don't really think so. So it's weird, but...
Yeah, Rhaegar, Oriole, Rhaegar, Arthas, Rhaegar, Valla in all 3 of their wins.
It's like they don't do anything else. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, Rhaegar is good, but I would actually suggest, at least at one point when you are ahead 2-0, try and ban it. Just, I want to see what happens.
Ooh, I did find one, and these are the matches they lost, actually. Tassilid and Valla Tassadar, so there's 2. The rest all had Rhaegar where they won.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, it's a strategy. We're on to something.
I mean, it seems to be working, so... Yeah, Rega and ETC as the opening again, so ETC probably with stage dive. We have no global on the side of their opponent yet. At this point, the good guys could... Well, yes, you can ban the Haka. I would have suggested taking the Haka, playing ETC as the main tank, and then having the Haka top lane. But with them banning the Haka out, they, of course, just make sure that one global is not in the game. Now the big question. Are the Ducks going... I don't see a false start in that setup. Are they maybe committing to an Illidan to have, still with a hunt and the increased cooldown, hero that has a pseudo-global available?
Think the Ducks will go that route, or do you think Team Good Guys can pick it up?
I think right now both teams could do it. I'm more questioning if the playing Ducks would aim for it, since they already have a double support which can work with it, and they don't have a global. Brightwing doesn't fit in their composition anymore. I don't think that they are going to play with Falstad, so they're very limited when it comes to their top lane, and I could see that as a problem in the later stages of the match.
So they pick up the Zul here, going to ban it out there to make sure that they don't have that wave clear coming their way, which allows for Valla to be able to dance around a little bit more. Zul pretty decent against double support, but you mostly pick him up for the Dragon Shire to push in. You want to be able to control the maps very well to open up those moments to grab the dragon. Also, if you do want to go for the Illidan, Zul can be kind of a pain in the rear, so not a bad ban.
There's also another thing. If you think about the last game, was that only... We saw ETC, of course, at the offlane, as we said, because of Arthur's going into the main tank. Do you think that was actually something where they said, hey, we are going to play this now more often, that BKB is going to be the offlaner and facing the solo? Or is that just something where they are saying, because of the heroes played this time, you're changing your role a little bit?
Could be a good middle ground. You allow BKB to appeal to his aggressive nature in the early game.
Yeah.
And then you allow him to say, okay, 7's now your power spike for ETC, go offlane.
They haven't really said anything about that they actually role swapped, and I don't necessarily expect it, so I would assume it is a hero preference thing. That in this case they're saying anti-hero is just more comfortable on Arthur's and BKB more comfortable on ETC, even though ETC's role has switched a little bit, that they stick with that setup. But it would be interesting if they are trying to make this happen a little bit more often, because I really enjoyed anti-hero with that position on the shrine. Not quite sure if he would ever fit into that main tank role. Definitely an interesting thought, though, now that we've seen it.
I mentioned they've dabbled around with the idea of moving some things out here and there, I think a couple weeks ago. Didn't really build in anything here in the actual matches, but something they mentioned that they have tried out in scrims, so we'll see if something ever does come to fruition.
Because we have also seen BKB on other heroes that fit very well into the solo lane, so...
Sure. Okay, well, 4th and 5th pickup here for the playing Ducks. Needed to get that top laner, someone that they can really move forward with. Illidan is definitely an option, especially with Lenara being on the opposing side. However, with the Rhaegar and Cleanse and a Stukov, suddenly it becomes a little bit scary to run into. Yeah,
definitely. There's a couple of tools on the other side already that are strong against it. But let's see what they decide to do. We need that solo laner, and it is going to be, drumrolls, Sonya. So no global for them. Have to play around that. Isolation happening with the Stitches, and
but they don't really have the lockdown to follow up the Stitches.
And that's why I'm currently asking myself if they decide to go into the Tassadar Force Wall over Akko.
Yeah, that would allow for them to do that. You get the hook, drop the Force Wall, Detainment Strike afterwards. A little more coordination. But
I feel they have enough damage. They have Valla, and with Sonya, you have normally enough damage at the front line. The Stitches Slam build helps with it too. So I definitely think in this case they could go for Force Wall. They don't necessarily need to drop Archon. We have seen in Europe roughly a 50-50 split between the two. Like, both are definitely played, so there's definitely chances that they are going to do exactly that to get more value out of the hook.
Well, looking at the compositions, playing Ducks has a solid early game here. You have Sonya who can do well on that top lane. You have the Stitches here. Look for those hooks to go for the fight, and then a Valla who is always very strong with Ariel in the early game. But you look at Team Good Guys, and they have a composition that if they can hold on well in the early game, not lose out in too many kills, they start to power spike heavily. You have Lenara, you have Malthael, the 16's hitting online. They look pretty scary if we get a late game, which is something that you see a lot on Dragon Shire.
Yeah, and also talking about them for a moment. So we see ETC as a main tank now. He's not going to take the top lane. That's, of course, going to be Malthael with the decision that they made here. They could have changed it up a little bit, but they decided not to. We could still see him go into stage dive and just switch around later on, but it's less likely now that we have the setup for an opponent. But it's definitely something you consider. So Malthael is going to try and get his value here. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I want to see what happens. I want to see if the good guys are winning the second map as well and taking the 2-0 lead, or if we're now having the playing Ducks coming back with a bigger of a bang, because they need a win. If they fall behind 0-2, it's going to be rough.
Well, let's find out here. Game number 2. Dragon Shire here as Team Good Guys are looking for the second victory, playing Ducks. Would love to tie it up.
It's game time on Dragon Shire. As to the left, Kronos is playing Rhaegar for TGG. We have the Good Guys with Xay on Stukov, BKB on ETC, once again with Antihero now taking the top lane on Malthael, and a Raid Boss on Bambi.
On the right side, in the red, it will be the Ducks themselves, with Joe playing Ariel, Sport Billy on Tassadar, Chris on Valla. We're going to have a Therno playing Sonya, and Nande with Stitches.
And we've been talking a lot about builds on Valla in particular, so I want to take the early game opportunity again to talk quickly about the arrow build. So oftentimes it's really that thought process, what do I play? Do I play a multi-shot build? Do I play an arrow build? First of all, auto-attack build is crap, don't use it, at least on the early talents. You know it's true, don't smirk at me like that. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Later on, talents on auto-attacks are
But the
definitely...
dings on Creed of the Hunter! I love dings!
Yeah, that's the reason why you take a talent, because you want the dings.
I mean...
Alright, so why Trick is dinging it up here, talking about those builds real quickly. Later talents on auto attack, 13 and 16, can definitely provide you with a lot of value. But normally your thought process should always be when you decide between an arrow build and between a multi-shot build, not distinguishing here between the hybrid builds that exist. Do you need the wave clear, or do you want more in-fight damage, especially in one-on-one situations? And if you want to have more hero damage and you want to have more value in a team fight, then normally the arrow build is for most players the go-to plan. If you rely a lot on your wave clear, Tomb of the Spider Queen again comes to mind. Infernal Shrines is important here for the objective. Then you are a little bit better off going into a build where multi-shot is your focus with Arsenal as a level 4 talent. Arsenal is 7 and Punishment on level 4.
I also think the multi-shot build too is something that you have to think about when it comes to Ariel now. You used to be able to go that multi-shot build because you could generate hope like crazy if you get off a couple of members and the 2 to 3 people, you just give her a full hope bar. But now with the level 7 talent missing out, what's the point of building it up that quickly?
Yeah, also, even then, I've seen a lot of players, especially in the European scene, going to an arrow build, even with it. But I agree with that, because you have like that faster push on the energy right away. But yeah, the level 7, of course, it changes. That definitely impacts all of this too. Valla is just, I feel Valla is a fantastic hero, just simply because she has so much versatility and so many different talents and builds that you can spec into, and it's a perfect example of how talent builds can adapt to situations and maps that you face. So for different maps, you see different approaches to the build, and now lately we even have seen Hot Pursuit with arrow talents on 4 and 7, just simply because you can get so much value out of Hot Pursuit alone if you don't need Monster Hunter to take camps faster. For example, this game is perfect for it. Chris could have gone into Hot Pursuit. I could absolutely have agreed with that talent, saying, hey, with Hot Pursuit I get my speed, I am not relying on so many moves back because I need mana. But he now has at least an approach to participate in camps taken a little bit more often. So that's one choice that they made, where they are saying we're going to use Valla a lot to try and take camp control from our opponents away, so we dominate the map. So in this case, we want Monster Hunter over Hot Pursuit, even though in team fights Hot Pursuit, or in the long run, Hot Pursuit might have like other benefits to it.
I love when a player shows off why you pick up a certain talent when we're talking about it. The Hungering Arrow already coming in here for Chris as they work on the Giants. And look how quick they clear those Giants out.
Yeah.
Fast enough here. If it takes a little bit too long, your opponent is able to grab both Shines and move in for a Dragon. They clear the Giants, and now they can come back and take the Shrine on the bottom side.
I would also say, like, just playing, it's also just fun to play around quest talents. It's, I mean...
Because of... dings. Exactly, Caldor. Thanks for countering yourself literally a minute and a half later.
Hey, moment. I have never said anything against like quest talents. I just said that that one is stupid.
Fair enough here. As playing Ducks is working on their level 7, and look at this Giants to grab here. Now they can now bolster them out. It's going to take a little bit here for Lennar to burn that down, unless BKB wants to power slide in and use a knockback to bring the Giants backwards. The silence will help out as well here from Zay, as they will clear it out, but this allows Chris to work in a couple of those Hungering Arrows. He gets one off, a second one now, so he has a total of 10 extra damage.
I have a YouTube video on my channel where a Valla player with Creed of the Hunter took an hour to complete this quest, okay? Just saying. That's how bad it can be.
Thank you, Caldor.
Hashtag value.
For letting us know how much you despise Creed of the Hunter. Bias caster over here. You're so adamant to prove everyone wrong.
It's such a horrible talent. You should talk to Main about it when he rages about it. If you think I'm bad, talk to Main about Creed of the Hunter. Yeah.
I'm going to get you a video where I finish it in 7 minutes, and you can put it on your YouTube. Thank you very much. Hook?
The hook and yeah, okay. Say was actually a really good hook target here because he's one of the few heroes that doesn't have an escape. And so far, I mean, we have 0 kills in this game thus far. It's really just smooth sailing for both of these teams. Just the attempt to get the Dragon Knight. And now, of course, with the recent changes to the map, the earlier Dragon Knights are now a lot more powerful. Now, let's talk about a couple of the remaining talents here. When we're talking, for example, about Valla, we have now the arrow build completed with the repeating arrow on 7. On 13, you can still go into the self-sustain, but you still have to. But power spikes have now hit with Cleanse being used by Rhaegar, the Splintered Spear, of course, in play. Cold Hand for the extra slow now also, as Malthael already continues to get his Black Harvest stacks together. And we have a bit of a focus here for the Psystorm also with Tassadar. Not only the Psy Infusion, but also the Resonation now taken for the extra slow.
Oh, interesting. Usually you get that extra range so you can poke from the side, but it looks like they want to have the extra damage, but also getting the slow there will allow Valla to work in those auto attacks and be a little bit more effective. And the Sonya too, so not a bad pickup.
This is definitely one of the talents that I didn't expect either, so it's a pretty interesting adjustment that he made here.
Not too bad there. Now with Team Good Guys working on their first power spike array, that level 7 hit for both the Malthael and the Lennar. They're getting a little bit more aggressive here on the side, working on that Splintered Spear, and you can see how effective it can be, hitting 3 people there and burning them down. Next power spike for Lennar is usually that 13 and that 16, but 16 for the Malthael will be a big choice here for Team Good Guys. For now, they are playing safe and just working on their laning. They're even setting up a gank here on the top as a Thurnal will be the target.
Yeah, and that is a great kill. That was actually quite funny here, because what happened here was that Infernal actually thought that he has a really good position against Antihero. When we saw Tassadar moving in, the shield comes in, and all of a sudden he realizes that Malthael, despite it being a 1 versus 2, engages into him, and he was like, wait, what? And that's the moment when we see 2 more heroes just coming out of the brushes and turning it into a 3 for 2. Great rotation from the Good Guys results in the first blood of the game. They get the kill against Sonya and the early level 10.
Man, Team Good Guys was playing well today, playing to their strengths, playing on their rotations, and also playing their composition well. Man, they are just looking great on this Saturday. Hook comes out, but Raid Boss is standing a little bit too far out of range there for Nande. Elise is able to grab the shrine, denying Dragon attempts here from the Good Guys.
Now we have Force Wall for Tassadar, so that means that you can now Detainment strike a hero into Force Wall, which is going to be important. Tim has been talking about it a bit earlier. We were mentioning the Hook follow-up, that after Hook, if you get Force Wall behind the target, Oriel can use Detainment strike, so you get the stun in, and that's where you gain your value. We have Kronos already over here. They were really trying to go for the hook there, but a little doggy, being a good doggy and making sure that he gets the camp. Well done.
Fancy little attempt there. How that hook did connect, Tassadar can move it at the top left and taken that shrine away, or that mercenary camp, but that did not pan out as well as the Ducks had hoped so, and now they're playing a bit on the safer side. They want to make sure that they're near each other here, especially that Oriel and that Valla when Tassadar moves in, having that force wall up for what you were talking about earlier. It's all about being slow and in control for the playing Ducks as they're working on grabbing a dragon. Is he going to get it? That would be cool.
That would have been really, really cool here. Sport Billy nearly making it work. Detainment strike against BKB now, though, but the silence again. So at this point, really, with Sukhov in the setup of the Good Guys, they are just giving the playing Ducks a taste of their own medicine after we had that setup the last time. Rain of Vengeance, barely missing as BKB moves away. But this is exactly what we said earlier. You try to get the hook, you follow up with the force wall, and that was well done from Ducks, but at least for now, without any consequence. So we only have this one single kill that happened earlier in the game.
But it does show how much coordination playing Ducks need to actually pull that off. Had Wolfjoe been a little bit forward to the right, he could have actually hit that Detainment strike, which would have made the Rain of Vengeance hit, and that may have actually been a dead ETC. Anti-Hero's gonna be popping his Tormented Souls here, and he goes in for a fight. Can he heal up? Nope, he gets killed off and wastes a heroic.
So 1-for-1 trade now, and that is exactly... Eternal gets revenge. That's what's basically happened here. And I mean, look at the map right now. 1 kill against the kill, not a 4 taken. Both teams aiming for level 13, still on 12. This game is incredibly even. We haven't seen a single Dragon Knight yet, 9 minutes into the game.
Might see one now, though, with the bottom being grabbed, with Thurnal holding the top side, Tassadar making his way towards the middle lane. Team Good Guys may have to get this up. Rhaegar's going to try and hold on for now against the Sonya, but Sonya should be able to chunk that lane down pretty well here. 13-12 for the playing Ducks. They'll take the opportunity to push in the bottom side while the confrontation in the top continues.
Yeah, Rhaegar had to back off and wait for Malthael to come back, but now the level 13 talents are ready for the playing Ducks, and the Good Guys aren't there just yet. So we have the approach towards the middle where the Dragon Knight could be taken. And it is late interrupt here, messing up Kronos with a mistake actually. And he might even fall now. He goes down, so he misses the interrupt against the Dragonite channel, even though he was in position from the start. And then he also dies. So, bit of a failure.
Bad puppy, man.
Bad doggy.
That's right there. Team Good Guys will have to defend this Dragon in the middle. Lanty takes more pressure on the top. Hungry Hero comes out, and Chris delivers the final blow with a Thurnal.
Straight in your face. So Malthael goes down, and that was another great kill. So now it's a 5 versus 3 on the map with the Dragonite, and they can easily push that top lane. And that is huge, actually, because you take a lot of the sustain away from your opponent once you drop the fountain. If you drop the fort, then you just make sure that you have a much easier time making your own play for the Shrine.
Which makes the top laner a little bit stronger there. Thurnal with that, well, should be able to edge out the Malthael if he isn't fighting near those minions. The fort does fall, and now playing Ducks, where a match was very even a couple minutes ago, has become very clear in the lead here for the Ducks, but Team Good Guys are hoping to trade out here. They come in for the mosh pit. They'll hit Stitches.
It's a party, but still, ETC gets hooked, and that should be it for him. Yes, down he goes. The cow is dead. So it was a good mosh pit attempt, but it was just not enough for them to really capitalize on it. He gets 2, but now we're having just kill after kill tickling in for the Ducks. So the Good Guys are starting to fall heavily behind. They're now already behind 2 levels and 3 kills at this point. 2 forts have, well, 1 fort has been taken down. The second one is on a half HP. But there's so much momentum that the Ducks have been able to build up now. They're closing in on level 16 talents already. They're at a fantastic spot now.
Team Good Guys in an okay spot, though. Still only losing 1 fort so far here at 11 minutes into the game. 2 levels away from that 16. This where playing Ducks should be pushing the envelope as much as they can, looking for those fights and trying to find areas where Team Good Guys might be rotating a little bit on the slow side. Grab the Giants, push in your opponent, open up that fort on the bottom side so your next Dragon can move in for a keep.
At this point, just be aggressive. If you're the playing Ducks, you want to go and really invade your opponent's territory, and that's what they're doing by grabbing these Siege Giants. And the Good Guys know that they have a pretty rough time here. Even Fishing Hook has now been taken for Stitches, so they're not going into Pulverize. Instead, it's Fishing Hook. And we have Gorge already used at this point, so that could be the kill, and indeed it should be. Yes, easy drop off BKB. Good follow-up with the Rain of Vengeance, perfectly timed. And Nanda is just delivering here. And I mean, this is getting from bad to worse. The playing Ducks are now pushing through the bot lane into the keep, and I'm not quite sure what the Good Guys can do about this. They are missing their main tank.
Nande a bit upset that we had the player comparison earlier and showed that he had less kills than BKB. Right now he's increasing his deaths and also getting kills for Nande.
Yeah, exactly. So he's really working well against that.
Look at the double side storm, by the way. This is where it can be very powerful. First off, it's a double slow. You're able to control that area, and you also zone out your opponents very well. And that zoning by itself allows playing Ducks to move forward and get the keep.
Yeah, the keep is taken, and that's 12 minutes in. So for the longest time, nearly up to 10 minutes into it, we had both of the teams just on eye level when it came to structures, when it came to kills, experience. But then with those 2-3 kills that the Ducks picked up in the mid game, they really just set themselves so far apart, and they're now way ahead. With more than 2 levels, we have them with 4 additional kills. The extra talent helped them to dominate the map, and they're trying to get another kill, but they barely miss out on dropping Raid Boss and that quick encounter here in the middle of the map.
Team Good Guys almost staggering deaths once again. Luckily they're able to get away, but do waste a big heroics there. Both the Flailing Arm and the Ancestor Healing. 85 seconds until that's back up. Another hook on BKB. Will Ariel get the Detainment Strike into the wall? Looks like not so yet. Power Slide comes out, and BKB is able to escape to his teammates.
Yeah, but that's a lot of pressure once again, and the Force Walls are always delivering here. And oh, Chris, nice. Another repeating arrow goes in. The hook hits once more, and BKB barely getting out. There comes the silence. The Force Wall trapping Anti-Hero, though. And Anti, wow, barely moves out. That was a close call there. That could definitely been a dead Malthael, but he's able to escape. Also completes the Black Harvest quest talent. We have 16 versus 18 in levels in favor of the playing Ducks as they still maintain that 2-level lead.
Playing Ducks firing in all cylinders right now. And think about it. Had the Ancestor Healing got off on top of the Malthael there, had it not had to use for Lennar earlier, maybe they could have turned that fight around. Yeah. And now they're just missing out on heroics. Hooks continue to keep hitting. At least Team Good Guys are grouping up now and holding the bottom side.
Just calm down on that for a moment. The last 5 hooks have all hit hard. And now BKB again with an attempt to maybe stall this out a bit. Sonya already has taken the top. And yeah, ETC shows himself, tries to isolate Nanda, but Sportbeat is ready. Wolfjoy is here. Chris is moving in.
Hook is up though. It hits BKB and
He's dead.
He's dead. He's done so.
Yeah, that is definitely a dead cow. Yeah, good luck trying to run away from this one. Without a stage dive, you have no chance of escaping here, and even with it, it probably would have been interrupted. So yeah, good job. Once again, another kill. The Ducks with 3-level lead, and this should by all means be another Dragonite.
Yeah, 19 to 16 here, and they walk over to the middle lane. No one's in the top lane to stop it. You're right. Sport Billy will start the channel, and that's going to be a Dragon here as they can go ahead and group up, break the fort open in the middle for the easy experience, start moving towards the bottom to work on the level 20. Team Good Guys are going to have to find a team fight and make it work here as, actually, sorry, they keep being down on the bottom side. That actually could be straight core. Yeah, they're already grouping up for it.
They're trying to go for the game.
Okay, they decided for 20. Okay,
well,
good.
they should get the fort, and then they can still move down. That gives them enough experience that with the next wave they're going to hit 20. So that is a small detour just for XP, and it makes perfect sense.
Look at this big push. 4 Giants, a Catapult, a Dragon, a Sonya. There's a Valla in the mix too.
God.
Raid Boss is almost dead. The Ancestral, though. Holy macaroni. A Therno turning around here as Raid Boss gets the auto attack. Stukov does fall.
Stukov is dead, and hungry Stitches. He's really hungry, and he's going for it. Yeah, that's a full meal right in front of him here. That's a lot of beef. BKB goes down. That's him gone. And now the doggy is running. Bambi is on the retreat. This is just a disaster for the Good Guys. The Ducks are definitely stepping it up in game number 2, going for the core here, trying to drop it down. Goes Rhaegar, 2 alive, but that's not enough. Anti-hero might fall too as the core goes down to 10%. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is game as the Playing Ducks tie the series.
MVP. Gotta go over to Nande here, hitting hooks. A total of, what, 8 there, it felt like, towards the mid to late game there, landing the ETC multiple times, getting the kills that were necessary, and he hit so many hooks there that his team eventually got a 2 to 3 level lead over their opponents. They grabbed the Dragonite, pushed on the bottom side, and that's all she wrote.
Also, great force walls that we saw once again. I mean, this entire setup was absolutely beautiful for them. So we have a series on our hands. A 1-1, the series is tied. Game number 1 on Infernal Shrines goes to TGG, and now on the second map, it's the Playing Ducks that are victorious.
Yes, Playing Ducks earn the victory here, all tied up here. We'll get ready for game number 3. We're going to be right back after this commercial break, and we'll see if Team Good Guys can finish last.